Life, in its infinite wisdom, never unfolds in a straight line. It twists, it bends, it tests us in ways we could never anticipate. The spiritual meaning of life's trials is not merely a book about hardship, but a gentle illumination of the hidden treasures buried within our suffering. It reminds us that every difficulty we face carries with it a message, a calling, and a chance to transform. To read it is to be invited into a quiet conversation with the soul, one that reassures us that nothing in our path is without purpose, even when it feels unbearable. The book begins with a simple but profound truth: trials are not punishments. They are not evidence of life's cruelty or God's indifference. Instead, they are doorways. Each trial we encounter is an invitation to step into deeper awareness, greater resilience, and a closer relationship with the eternal. Imagine a seed, buried deep in the dark soil. To the seed, the weight of the earth pressing down might feel like suffocation. Yet that very pressure, that very struggle, is what pushes the seed to break open, to grow roots, and eventually to rise toward the light. In the same way, our trials press upon us not to destroy us, but to break us open so that our true potential can take root. The author emphasizes that the first step in understanding life's trials is to shift our perspective. Most of us see challenges as obstacles that block our joy, but the book teaches us to see them as instruments of awakening. For example, think of the person who loses their job unexpectedly. At first, the loss seems devastating, stripping them of identity, security, and stability. But as time unfolds, that very trial often becomes the catalyst for discovering a passion long ignored, or the courage to pursue a calling that had been buried under routine. What seemed like an ending was, in truth, a beginning disguised in pain. One of the most powerful insights the book offers is that suffering refines the soul. Just as fire purifies gold, life's difficulties burn away illusions and attachments that keep us small. We cling to comfort, to the familiar, to the certainty of control, yet trials remind us that control is an illusion, and that growth only happens when we step into the unknown. The author shares countless examples of individuals who endured heartbreak, illness, or loss, only to emerge with a strength, compassion, and wisdom they never would have discovered otherwise. A woman who battles cancer, for instance, may come to see life with fresh eyes, cherishing moments of simplicity and love she once overlooked. A man who loses everything in bankruptcy may discover that his true wealth was never in possessions, but in his relationships, his health, and his ability to begin again. Another profound message woven through the book is the idea that trials connect us with one another. Pain has a way of breaking down the walls of ego. When we suffer, we realize how deeply we need each other. Our arrogance softens into humility, our indifference transforms into empathy, and we begin to see our shared humanity. How often have we found ourselves moved not by someone's victories, but by their struggles? The friend who confides their heartbreak, the neighbor who lost a loved one, the stranger who fights through visible hardship, their vulnerability touches us because it mirrors our own. The book encourages us to honor our trials not only as personal lessons, but as bridges that connect us to the hearts of others. The author also reminds us that trials invite us to trust in something greater than ourselves. When life strips us of certainty, when the path ahead disappears into fog, we are forced to lean into faith, not necessarily faith in a particular religion, but faith in the unfolding of life itself. This trust does not mean denying our pain. On the contrary, it means acknowledging it fully while believing that it has meaning, even if we cannot yet see it. For instance, a young man grieving the loss of his father may find himself shattered, questioning everything. But through his grief, he may slowly discover a spiritual depth that reshapes his life, guiding him toward compassion, service, or a vocation that honors his father's memory. His pain becomes not just something to survive, but something to carry forward as light. The book offers gentle wisdom for those who ask, "Why me?" This question arises from the belief that life is unfair, that we have been singled out for suffering. Yet the truth, as the author reveals, is that trials are not distributed as punishments or rewards. They are simply part of the human journey. Just as every season has its storms, every soul has its moments of darkness. The key is not to resist or deny them, but to find meaning within them. Consider the metaphor of a sculptor chiseling away at a block of stone. The stone may feel only the harsh blows of the hammer, but the sculptor sees the form within, waiting to be revealed. Our trials are the chisels that shape us into what we were meant to become. Equally important, the book explores how our response to trials determines their outcome. Two people can face the same hardship yet emerge in completely different ways. One may grow bitter, closing their heart, while the other may grow wiser, opening their soul. The difference lies not in the trial itself, but in the willingness to embrace it as a teacher. The author urges us to practice reflection, asking ourselves, what is this experience trying to teach me? How can I grow from it? What strength or wisdom is being called forth within me? By shifting from victimhood to curiosity, we transform suffering into sacred instruction. There is also a beautiful emphasis on patience. In the midst of trials, we often want immediate answers, quick solutions, or the end of pain. But just as seeds take time to grow, so too do lessons take time to unfold. The book speaks of endurance not as passive waiting, but as active faith, the willingness to walk through uncertainty with the trust that life is still working on our behalf. Think of someone who prays for healing from heartbreak. At first, they may feel abandoned, waiting endlessly for the wound to close. Yet with patience, they discover that the healing was happening all along, in the new friendships formed, in the resilience built, in the quiet moments of solitude that brought them closer to their own soul. The author also confronts the illusion of perfection. Many of us believe that a good life means a life free of struggle, yet the truth is that perfection lies not in the absence of trials, but in the way we allow them to transform us. A life without trials would be a life without growth, without depth, without gratitude. Imagine reading a story where the hero faced no challenges, endured no setbacks, and encountered no trials. Would such a story move us? Would it inspire us? No, because it is the very presence of struggle that makes the victory meaningful. Likewise, it is our trials that make our lives rich with purpose and beauty. The book closes with a profound reassurance that no trial lasts forever. Storms pass, wounds heal, and night always gives way to dawn. The scars we carry remain, but they become sacred reminders of what we have endured and how far we have come. They are not marks of weakness, but symbols of strength. The author reminds us to look back on our own lives and see how many trials we once thought would break us, and yet here we are, stronger, wiser, and more compassionate than before. Ultimately, the spiritual meaning of life's trials is a gentle but powerful reminder that suffering is not meaningless. Each trial carries within it the seed of transformation. Each difficulty offers us the chance to grow, to deepen, and to step into the fullness of who we are. Life's trials are not detours from our path, they are the path. They are the sacred fire that refines us, the chisel that shapes us, the soil that nurtures our hidden potential. So when life places a burden upon your shoulders, the book urges you not to despair, but to ask, what gift is hidden within this? What part of me is being called to awaken? You may not find the answer immediately, but in time, with patience and trust, you will see that every trial was, in truth, an invitation to grow closer to the divine essence within yourself. And so the journey of life continues, not as a quest to avoid trials, but as a dance with them. For in each trial lies a blessing. In each hardship, a seed of wisdom. And in each moment of suffering, the possibility of awakening to the deeper meaning of life itself.